Hi, Happy New Year. I hope everyone's having a good start to 2025. Um, Today I'm going to talk about making sense of spiritual experiences. It's kind of a theme of mine. But I got some great wisdom from people over the years as I was trying to make sense of what happened to me, as I was trying to decide was this real or not. Because in the world I was raised in, seeing things that I saw, I just thought I'd become schizophrenic. Of course, I do think if I were schizophrenic, I might not have had that awareness. I'm not sure. I was never diagnosed with schizophrenia because I had this other cultural perspective in my life by the time I started having these spiritual experiences. Because of my stepdad, who came from an indigenous culture, who was said to be a traiteur or medicine holder. He was very modest about this. He basically swore up and down that his dad had the gift, but maybe sometimes he had it, but he had it because he had all these psychic dreams. Sometimes he'd go in the yard and mix medicine. He was very private about it. I don't even know if I'm supposed to really talk about it. He's on the other side, but I think I'm supposed to talk about me. That's the point. Makes me a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to keep doing it. Anyway, so because of that, because I've been like, gosh, why did I not ever get a diagnosis? Because I really could have. There was another path I could have gone down. I literally just started seeing things, and I thought I was schizophrenic. So anyway, when I first saw the light over my bed, I had a few options. So I was freaking out. I thought I was losing my mind, even though it was very, very beautiful and it was very loving and it felt very holy and sacred. I could have gone to a psychiatrist. I could have gone to a rabbi. I could have gone to a minister. All of that was in my family, but I chose instead to call my Reiki teacher, and then I made an appointment with a shaman that I found online. I have a little mixed feelings about the shaman. My stepdad didn't love that I was talking to a shaman because he said, in my stepdad's culture that he was raised in, you never ever, for him, you would not talk about it, and that was really important to him, to not give a name to what you do. But I do think I was meant to work with him because I had a dream about him before I met him. I made the appointment. I and like a couple of days before I went for the appointment, I dreamt like the whole session. I dreamt where his office was. I dreamt the stairs. I dreamt the room. I dreamt the feeling in the room and the light in the room. And then I also dreamt him, in the end of the dream, I fell into his arms and he like caught me. It was a very beautiful dream, and it felt very beautiful. And then this was like one of the earlier psychic dreams I'd had. And then when I got to his office, I was like, wait, this looks like exactly like my dream. I was like, this is so weird. Um, anyway, I didn't know why people saw shamans. I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know it was a thing, except my Reiki teacher had mentioned that she was studying with one. So when I got there, I just, like, he did this whole thing with the candle, and he's looking at this candle and talking, and I was like, he's like, you're on the spiritual path. And I was just like, I devoted my life to God. I saw a light. I think I'm schizophrenic. Do I have to drop out of grad school? Like, I remember just blurting all of that out of my mouth. I remember it like it was yesterday because I was so nervous and I really needed to talk to someone. I thought I was going to have to drop out of grad school. I thought I was losing my mind. Anyway, so he reframed everything for me by basically, he laughed in a nice way, kindly laughing and saying, it's okay, we're all schizophrenic. The whole world is a dream. And I was like, why am I in your office? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he's like, you will finish school. And I did finish grad school. No one knew it, obviously, until I'm talking about it now. No one knew I was going through any of this. But it did help because I could go meet with him every once in a while and just say, like, okay, there's someone else that knows something about this. And then, of course, my stepdad, who was also really connected to me having dreams and giving me some guidance as well. So basically, that's why I never got a diagnosis, because I had this other spiritual avenue that I just entered into. And it was like totally normal. I mean, I don't know, like the way that he looked at me when I said I devoted my life to God and I saw a light, like I didn't know like people didn't do that. Like part of me, like I was just going through it, but I was like, surely this happens to everyone. Part of me was like, I knew I was like dead. I did have to live two separate lives like during it, but I was like, maybe this is happening to everyone and no one's talking about it. I don't know. But anyway, he looked at me kind of like a little flabbergasted because I was like, I guess people don't go to him to talk about, see, like maybe sometimes, but I mean, that's basically what happened. So he reframed a lot just with that one statement of like, that we're all schizophrenic, the whole world is a dream. And that's like a common statement in a lot of spiritual like teachings that I now know, like the Course in Miracles or like other things, like it is a lot of people teach that. And I do kind of believe that. People who've had near-death experiences say that too, but it is, hard to remember when you're living your normal life. So he said that and reframed it for me. He also said, I think I've mentioned this before, he at one point told me that when the physical world doesn't take care of you, the spiritual world does. He might have said that first session too. And it was more like that I had been really wounded and traumatized, and because of that, it opened up a spiritual world to me. And I mean, not a ton. Like I always say, I'm not Lorna Byrne. Like I do not just sit and see spirits all day. I've had like the door a little bit open, and I've worked on opening it for my readings in a way that's healthy and balanced. But so more on that. So basically, if you've been that wounded, and this has been happening to a lot of people that I work with, they have gone through certain trials and gone through certain things, especially starting 2020 and after. If you're one of those people, you're not alone. A lot of people have been telling me that in my sessions, 2020 and after they started having spiritual experiences. And I think there's been like some collective, physical world being really different for some of us, and the spiritual world is like stepping in. So that he also, over the years, like I worked with him, I don't know, every couple months I'd go see him. He would also talk about how if you have spiritual abilities and you don't use them in a like service to others and you don't train, then you would be schizophrenic. I don't want to say that word lightly. I know I don't judge any diagnosis. I think in the Western community, I probably would be diagnosed with that. But because of my stepdad and these other influences, I never was. Anyway, he would talk about like you need to train, you need to do spiritual work, you need to have your practice, and you need to do it for others. Otherwise, like you're gonna not be very like balanced. And I think that was true because for a long time I didn't do that. I didn't do a spiritual practice, and I didn't do any spiritual work for others because I was in denial about what happened to me. Now I do, and I'm a lot more balanced and happy. I'm not saying life is perfect, but it is like a lot better for me in terms of like my mental wellness, my well-being, and like being a healthy, balanced person. Those are some thoughts. I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, I think it's like once I made the leap, like it was like, and it's happened over many years for me to just be like, okay, spiritual reality is real. And it needs to be part of the three triad, mind, body, spirit, which I always talk and think about a lot. And it doesn't, and honestly, if it's helping you, it's okay. If you're using it to help others, it's great. And I love doing readings because every time I do, I'm reaffirmed, and I deconstruct my skepticism even more when I say something that's true that I could never have known. I had some really good readings on Friday. I was so thankful. They were very healing, but also like I was seeing and receiving information from the angels and the guides that I never ever could have known without that being a true part of life. But it does like it take a while, and I'm still like, okay, I guess that's real. I guess the spiritual world is real because I just saw and felt that and said that and it was true. So, I mean, it's a long process for me. It is, I still kind of work on deconstructing it, but I think it is when I saw how easy it was for my stepdad to live in that world. So when I talk about him being like a healer, a traiteur, medicine man, he was not just like walking around shaking rattles all day. He was a Marine and he was an engineer, and he only talked about it with me a little bit because of my experiences that he had dreams about. So it was like I could see that he was also still like a regular person, just seeing spirits, and it was helping him. Like he used what he could see and what he knew to help others. He helped me a lot. He helped other people in the community. I heard stories about different things he did for his friends and other people. So it was really powerful just to have that example. And so I try to do that now. I don't know if he'd approve of me having a website. He did predict that I would be sharing my story and people would come to recognize my gift, but that I'd have to be strong, which I wrote about in my Substack the other week. But I didn't really know what he was talking about. So anyway, it's interesting. I mean, those people really helped me see life in a different way and just accept that a spiritual reality could be real. And I think it's real for all of us. I think if it's helping you to connect to something, mostly this is like, did you start seeing something and did you freak out about it? Because so did I. But because a lot of people I've been working with kind of have been, but a lot of them aren't freaking out as much as I did. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm very curious. So tell me what y'all are seeing. Are you experiencing anything? Does it feel okay? I think the main thing to pay attention to is, did it make you feel loving and loved and whole and complete? And that's definitely worth considering, because my experience definitely did. Trying to think what else. I guess that's it for now. I hope those are some interesting things to think about. I love y'all a lot, and I hope you have a great first week of the new year. And I would love to hear your thoughts. It's fascinating. And the other end of that is like, once I knew about the spiritual world for a while, I did want to escape to it completely and not be physical at all. And that's totally also very normal after you have a spiritual experience, is just to be like, well, this part of it sucks. I'm just going to go to the spiritual world. But I think, yes, the balance is the thing. Mind, body, spirit. Constant learning for me, maybe for you too. Anyway, I love y'all a lot. Have a great week and day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.